What's up, everybody? It's June 1st, and we are talking the top 5 fisheries that you need to be checking out this month. So let's start with number 5 and some bass fishing. Yes, Washington State and bass, it's go time. We've either been now in the spawn or post-spawn for most of these fish in our lakes, and this is one of the best times of the year to get out because they're aggressive. This is the time that you can get out, throw a lot of different things, chasing largemouth, smallmouth, and do really well. And I really think some of the most exciting stuff is when you can get out on the water and throw top water, like a little popper like that, your frogs in the lily pads, or if you got spawning fish, you can get out there with the good old Senko style baits, and you can throw and catch a lot of these different fish and have a lot of fun. Some of my biggest fish have been caught during this time of the year because they start getting off the beds and wanting to really eat. If you like fishing moving baits, stuff like your chatterbaits, your crankbaits, square bills, or if you always just want to try something just to get a bite, the good old Ned rigs, right? These TRD craws or the small TRD, which is basically just the back end of a Senko. Those will catch you fish and have a lot of fun. There's nothing more enjoyable than getting out in the evening or early morning in the summer like we're getting into. This warm weather allows for a lot of the fun, and especially my favorite being the topwater bites. So get out there and enjoy some bass fishing because it's time to go chase them. That's number 5. Let's talk about number 4. I'm going to be sticking with Kokanee fishing still because Kokanee, it's not over, right? May was a great month because this is typically when it kicks off, but June, it carries forward. Now, what you do have to keep in mind with Kokanee fishing into this month is that Kokanee are going to be light sensitive. This is a very early morning fishery when it starts getting a lot warmer. So your glow-in-the-dark dodgers, like this Dick Knight spoon one, or maybe even throw our custom one in there. Glow UV, super important for early in the morning fisheries like that. And you really have to pay attention to the boat traffic because we get these nice weather, all the pleasure boaters come out. So I fish very early in the morning, and that's typically going to get you a lot of your fish right away and get off the water before it gets too crazy. So I'm running still the same stuff, small little hoochie presentations behind our Dodgers, or small wedding ring style spinners like this one. Those are going to typically get you done all day long, but you can mix it up. There are other things like the God's Tooth spoons that work really well, or your other small spinner presentations, some of the Olympic tackle squids. Again, you just can kind of experiment and play around. Still using the same stuff gear-wise, right? Same rods, long lining presentations early in the morning, but you're going to end up transitioning more as the water does warm to using the downriggers more. If you guys like to use droppers, this is another great opportunity. You can chase those fish that way as well. That's my number 4. My number 3 definitely has to stay up there at the top, lingcod, right? We talked about it for last month because of the lingcod opener, right? We have a lot of really cool fisheries that open, a lot of chances for us to get out. Lingcod still is that for me because we have until June 15th in Washington for Puget Sound to go out and chase, but don't leave it out as well for the coast. If you guys want to go take a charter boat, this is the perfect time to get out there. They have all the bottom fish opportunities. And if you guys locally, it's still a really good fishery through the end of the year. A lot of these fish still migrate through once others get caught. Swim baits are really successful, especially the flounder imitation ones. But the guys that fish off the jetty can still do really well. And it provides an awesome fishery, whether you're in locally or the straits. And then, like I said, you can go grab a charter and go chase bottom fish here to the end of the summer. I think it's like October when that closes. So there's a lot of chances to still get out, get your bottom fish, and have a lot of fun doing it. So that'll stay at my number 3. But lingcod fishing, as you know, is so awesome. Now, my number 2 is a very tight spot with my number 1 because my number 2 is near and dear to my heart. That is steelhead fishing. Steelhead opens up at the end of May for most years, and by June, we are full-fledged open in all of our rivers for the most part, unless there's something happening that year. But for the most part, summer run steelhead is one of my favorite things. Nothing's better than watching that float dive down and a very nice chrome fish that's hot, jumping and running all over the place. So for me, it's jigs under a float. It's spoons and spinners like Wicked Lures, right? Those are what I'm carrying around with me all the time. Something like that. It's going to help get you, depend on water conditions, because some years we have heavy snow melt. You're going to have to be sticking with more bright, flashy colors, and other times you're going to have super clear water and you have to go to the darker, muted colors. But a float and a jig and a spoon spinner rod, it's going to get you done every time. That 8'6" to 9.5 foot is a perfect section for your spoon and spinners. And if you're going to go float fishing, you can't go wrong with a 10 foot to 10'6". Those are definitely going to get you done no matter where you're at. If you like fishing worms, summer run steelhead love worms. And I mean plastic worms. All sorts of shapes and sizes on those and colors, but they will get the job done day in and day out. But that's my number 2 is summer run steelhead. So what can be my number 1? I'll tell you. My number 1, that is definitely going to be resident coho here in Puget Sound. Now, this one was tough because I battle with putting that number 2 or 1 between steelhead, but it's number 1 for me because of the opportunity. These fish are fantastic eating, they're super aggressive, and it's a lot easier to get out if you have a boat to chase these. So while bank fishing is geared towards the summer steelhead, and it's a great opportunity, you got to give the boat anglers a shot here at some amazing table fare fish. Now, resident coho, they're not giant. You're looking 2 to 4 pounds for the most part. So what I do is I downsize my gear accordingly. I'm running these mini cut plugs. I'm also running the small 2.0 and 2.5 spin fish. These two right there are going to be your go-tos. And that's all I run. Very straightforward, but it's super deadly because these are imitating the small bait that's out there in Puget Sound, and they do very, very well. You can, though, use some other different stuff, right? Some small spoons are going to work really well for you. Just imitating, again, those small bait fish. I've really found a liking to the smaller, I think this one's the 2.8 inch. This is an Old Goat Lures. It's a 3D printed lure that has a really great wobble, like a herring cut plug, but then it dives as well. So it gets this erratic hunting action. Does very, very well on all species, but this small size really works well for your resident coho. If you do like fishing flashers, I'd go the 8 inch as opposed to the 11 inch, but you can throw your typical hoochie flies, like these are the Olympic tackle sand lance. So I do really well with that too. Strip of herring, very important if you're going to run those. They work very well. I've done also very well with the Wicked Lures in the glow green or the bright pink and the silver. These also do well imitating those bait fish, and you can run these on a surface rod, strip of herring, and do very, very well. Yeah. Resident coho, freaking blast. For me, the first couple of times I went and did it, I wasn't really too confident. So when I first did the resident coho, it was kind of on a whim. The research was there, obviously. We figured out where to go. Most people, it's Area 10 down near Seattle, and the Edmonds area is the break line. So you'll see a lot of boats out there, but for good reason. You can go chase these fish all over. I mean, it doesn't have to be just in one section spot. The tide really helps you out. But sometimes you can just get out in the shipping lanes in the deep water and find these fish. They're usually the top 100 feet of the water column, so you can really chase the bait and find these fish. They're aggressive. And gosh, there's nothing more fun than that. Now, gear-wise, what am I running on these resident coho? Typically, I'm running my standard. So gear-wise, what I'm running typically is my Velocity 9-foot medium light. This is a 6 to 15. Then it's the 902 ML, right? That's what this is. Paired up with the Recon reel. Absolutely love these things. Very nice parabolic rod for a downrigger. But they're light enough that these fish are going to put up a good fight. It's not just you're overbearing the gear. This is my perfect all-around rod. You see me preach it all the time. But I've done some modifications to all of my rods for trolling, and in another video I can link it. But I put some tape as well as glow. It really helps me see which rod's getting hit, and it breaks up the contrast. But that's what I'm running for my trolling rods for these fish. Again, I keep a smaller flasher. Really helps. Some of these kite flashers, if you can still find them, those are some of my favorite. They don't put any drag, but there's also some stuff out there in the small 8-inch size of your typical paddle flashers that work really well. And that'll get you into your fish. So I want to hear from you guys. What are your top 5 fisheries for June? What's your favorite you're going to go chase right now? Because I know I'm getting the boat ready. We're going to go hit the water. It's a lot of fun when you have all these options to go chase. Tight lines, guys. Thanks for watching. Fish on!